Hey, 6th class, this is another homework problem from your final exam review. This is from chapter 5. And in it we are doing, this is a binomial probability. We're going to test 19 tablets, and it says they will accept the whole batch if there's only one or none of the 19 that are that don't meet the required specs. So this particular shipment has of thousands of aspirins has only 5% rated defects. Okay, so that's our probability of success. Alright, a defect is success in the wording of this. So these are binomial probabilities. So under DISTR, the second bars are the distributions. That's what DISTR means, distribution. And here is binomial. So binomial PDF, it takes in N, P, and X. N is the number in your sample, so 19. P is the probability of success, which in this case is a defect. So write that as a decimal, so 5% is 0.05. And then how many defects? Alright, we want one or none. So we're going to do one first. There's the probability of one defect. Alright. And then I'm going to do second enter. That brings back the last thing I just did. And then for 0, I'm going to hit enter. And I notice we get the exact same thing here. And we did change this last number, and you may be thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would we get the same thing? And it goes to the formula. So the formula for these are N, the sample size, choose X, the number of successes. So this is for the top one. And choose X. And then it's the probability of success to the X power, and then the probability of failure to the N minus X, 19 minus 1 to the 18 power. So this is what this is. 19 choose 1 is 19. Right? 0.05 to the first. So this is what we get here. And then if we change it to the 0, we get 19 choose 0, 0.05 to the 0, and then 0.95 to the 19 minus 0. 19 minus 0 is 19. So we get this. Well, 19 choose 0 is 1. Anything to the 0 power other than 0 is 1. We get 1 times 1 times 0.95 to the 19th. And this is the probability of 0. Well, the thing is right here, the 19, over here, 19 times 0.05 is another 0.95. So this is another 0.95, which would make 19 0.95s. So we'd end up with the same thing. So that's why we're getting the same thing for those. But we have to add those two together. I need to take that 0.3773536.025 and add them together, which with the other one, which means double it. So there's my probability that we would accept this shipment. So to 3 places, it's 0.755. Now there is another feature when you are adding these. Let me go to up. It's easier to go up. But the binomial, we did PDF last time. The binomial CDF, what that does is it starts at 0. It still takes in NPX, but it starts at whatever number. It starts at 0, and it stops adding at whatever number you tell it to. So the same thing. N is 19 here. P, the probability of success, is 0.05. And if we tell it to stop at 1 because it says 1 or none, what it does is it starts off, it does basically what we just did. It finds the binomial PDF, 19.05 and 0, and then adds 19.05 and 1. So there's that 0.755 again. Okay. So CDF will start at 0 and add until you tell it to stop, basically. And PDF will only find one at a time, and then you have to add them. So in a problem like this, where we're having to add up multiple probabilities, it's actually easier to use CDF.